This is my review on the Brooks Ghost Max. I want to start out this review with a quick disclaimer. I'm 6'1", 205 pounds. I have a size 12 foot, a little bit on the wider side. My foot strike pattern while I run is I'm a mid-foot to heel striker. My zone 2 pace is around 10:30 to 11 minutes per mile. My weekly mileage is typically around 30 miles to 40 miles per week. The mileage that I have on my Brooks Ghost Max pair is 25. And as for previous model experience, this is the very first Brooks Ghost Max, but I have run in the Brooks Ghost 14 before. A quick overview of some important specs of the shoe. The heel to toe drop is 6 millimeters, a 39 millimeter stack height in the heel, dropping to a 33 millimeter stack in the forefoot. As for weight of the shoe, it is 10 ounces according to Brooks' website. I believe that's for a US men's size 9. And the retail price for the Brooks Ghost Max is $150. Now that we have the disclaimer and specs out of the way, let's get right into it. So the outsole on the Brooks Ghost Max is a decently soft rubber compound. They don't specify what type of rubber it is on Brooks' website. However, I felt that the traction pattern, at least in California in good weather conditions, performed decently well. The rubber compound is a little bit on the softer side, as I did say, but I do feel that in maybe wetter conditions or snowy conditions, I could see that the traction pattern may not hold up as well, not just from a durability point of view, but from a traction point of view. However, since I live in California, I did not get to test them in those conditions. It's just a gut feeling that I have. As I said before though, in good weather conditions, you're not gonna have a problem with the traction of the outsole pattern. Moving on to the durability of the outsole, I would say that the outsole is pretty durable due to a thick layer of that softer rubber compound. Even though the rubber on the outsole of the Brooks Ghost Max is a little bit on the softer side, I do believe that it's gonna have good durability due to the thick layer that they put on the bottom of the midsole. Overall, durability should be good on the Brooks Ghost Max. Moving on to the midsole of the Brooks Ghost Max, we have a DNA Loft V2 cushion setup from Brooks. And let me just say, it is one of my favorite parts of the Brooks Ghost Max, as well as it's the reason why it's called the Brooks Ghost Max. So as I said in the specs before, it has a 6 millimeter heel to toe drop, 39 millimeters in the heel and 33 millimeters in the forefoot. And let me tell you, this is a great cushion setup. I like that there's not too much of a heel to toe drop. For me personally, because I am a heel striker to midfoot striker, it helps me land a little bit more on my midfoot, as well as it has that extra stack in the forefoot, which makes it extra comfortable. Now, I really like this foam setup because, in my opinion, DNA Loft V2 from Brooks is not the softest foam, but it's also not the most firm foam. It's a little bit in that in-between. I can take it out on slow and long runs, as well as I can pick up the pace a little bit in the shoe, and I can also bring them on long runs. Typically, my preference is for long run shoes is I don't like the cushioning to be too soft because I don't want to sink into the shoe while I'm running, especially in those later miles. And the Brooks Ghost Max did a perfect job of having great impact protection as well as a little bit firmer of a foam. The one knock that I do have against the Brooks Ghost Max's midsole though is that I did feel that even though it was not the softest foam, it wasn't also super responsive. I didn't feel a lot of energy return. It was a little bit more of a firm dead feel, not in a bad way, but it just didn't bounce back the way that I wanted to. But that is me really nitpicking on the midsole. So overall, I think that this midsole is gonna be a great option for a lot of people for a lot of different paces as well as a lot of different use cases. I could see this being a great shoe for recovery runs if you don't want something too soft and you want something a little bit more stable, as well as I could see this not being the best tempo shoe, but you can definitely do a tempo run in these shoes over a lot of other max cushion shoes in the market. So it's gonna be a good in-between of a lot of different shoes, and I think that it adds to the versatility of this shoe. Moving on to the upper of the Brooks Ghost Max. Now this is one of my favorite parts of the shoe. I think I've only had experience with the Brooks Ghost 14, but in my opinion, Brooks makes very good and comfortable uppers. They typically have a lot of cushion on the inside, and that's no different with the Brooks Ghost Max. So it is nicely padded on the inside of the upper. It's nothing special, it's just a mesh with a non-gusseted tongue, but I did not have any problems with heel lockdown, as well as no hot spots, no blistering in my experience. There was also no break-in period necessary for the Brooks Ghost Max, and I could see this upper lasting a very long long time as well. As for the breathability of the upper, I wouldn't say it's the most breathable upper. I did try to get some shots of the holes or the perforations in the upper and get sunshine shining through the upper, but I wasn't able to. But if you take my word for it, there are a couple small perforations throughout the upper. They're very small holes, at least in my colorway, the all black colorway. And I did feel a little bit of a breeze while I was running. I would say that the ventilation is about average. There definitely is some in the shoe, but not an abundant. So overall, the upper was great. I thought it was very comfortable, no break-in time necessary, and it supported me as much as I needed it. Moving on to the feel of the shoe. So does this Brooks Ghost Max run true to size? In my opinion, I did feel that it ran a little bit big. Now I do have a wider foot, as I said in the disclaimer, but I felt like I had no problems with it. I just noticed that there was a little bit extra room in the forefoot. Now, if you don't like that extra room in the forefoot or you have a narrower foot, I could recommend you going half a size down. I would always recommend to try the shoe on first just to make sure. If you do have a narrow foot and also prefer a snug fit, I would recommend going half a size down. However, if you have a wider foot like me or you don't mind a little bit extra space in the toe box, I would say going true to size is recommended. The stability of the Brooks Ghost Max is, I would say, very good for a neutral max cushion shoe. Due to the firmer foam as well as a little bit of a wider base, it's gonna keep your foot feeling pretty stable throughout most runs. Something that I think Brooks did very well with the Ghost Max is that it is a little bit of a wider base and it looks like a very chunky shoe. However, when you put them on feet, they're actually lighter than you would expect and they're a lot more nimble than you'd expect. For max cushion shoes, typically I think of a super wide base, a really high stack height, really soft cushion, and I feel like maybe it's a little bit unstable at times due to the high stack height and soft cushion. But with the Brooks Ghost Max, you're gonna get a little bit of that firmer feel, but you're still gonna get the impact protection of a max cushion shoe. Last but not least, we have the transitions in the shoe, and to be honest, for a big shoe or for a max cushion shoe, I thought the transitions in the shoe were great. I really like that rocker that Brooks put in the front of the shoe. I think it really helps with those toe offs and it really helps you glide through your running transitions and running form. Even though it looks like a bigger shoe, it really does not act like a bigger shoe and it feels very light on feet. So I thought that the transitions were very nice in the Brooks Ghost Max. So quickly touching on aesthetics, they don't have anything to do with the performance, but I personally really like the aesthetics of the Brooks Ghost Max. It has a lot of soft features and a lot of rounded features, which I think pairs well with the whole, max cushion shoe. And if you get the all white colorway, it just looks very marshmallowy, which I am a big fan of. So overall, as you can tell, I really enjoyed the Brooks Ghost Max. I am very comfortable recommending this shoe to a wide range of runners. Even if you're a beginner all the way to an advanced runner, I could see this shoe fitting into a lot of people's shoe rotations and also being a very versatile option in a lot of people's running shoe rotations. I think it can handle a lot of long runs, short runs, fast runs, slow runs. It's not gonna be the best in every single one of those categories, but it's gonna be able to do every single one of those categories, in my opinion. There are some shoes, that I would try out and I would think, this is a good shoe for a certain type of runner, but for the Brooks Ghost Max, I do feel, like I said before, that I could recommend it to a wide range of runners, and I think a wide range of runners would really enjoy this shoe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.